Bristol Community College, Mathematics with Dan Avedikian, Math 060, Topics in Developmental Mathematics, Section 2.7, Problem 3. This is Section 2.7, Problem 3. It says find the least common multiple for the numbers 54 and 90. So what we want to do, the least common multiple, is the smallest value that both 54 divides into evenly and 90 also divides into evenly. That's what we want to do. And if you just kind of start picking numbers, eventually you'll get it, but it's not really the right way to do it. We want to start by finding the prime factorization of both the 54 and the 90. So for the 54, we can do 6 times 9. Let's just write it like this. It splits off. That'll start at 54. The 6 can split into 2 times 3, and the 9 can split into 3 times 3. So now all those are prime. That's the prime factorization. So for the 54, I have 2 times 3 to the 3rd power. Where I have a prime that's repeated, like the 3 in this case, I want to use the exponential notation. Then for the 90, let's find the prime factorization of that. So I see 9 times 10. That's a 90. And again, you can start it many other ways, but however you start it, it'll end with the same primes. So the 9 can split into 3 times 3, and the 10 can split into 2 times 5. So now all those are prime. Those are the primes that multiply to make a 90. And I'll write that under the 90. I'll put the primes in order. Let's start with the 2, then the 3 next, and there's 2 of them, so I'll make it 2nd power, and then I have a 5. So that's the first part of the process. You find the prime factorization for both numbers. Next, what I'm going to do is make a list of any prime that shows up in either prime factorization. So I'm using 2, 3, and 5. Those are the primes that get used. 2, 3, 5. Now what I want to do is consider the exponents. Where I have exponents, I want to take the larger exponent. So for the 2's, they are both raised just to the 1st power. So the first 2 can just stay the way it is, 1st power. For the 3's, I have 3rd power and 2nd power. I want the larger power, so 3rd power is bigger than 2nd power, so I take 3rd power for the 3. The 5 only shows up to the 1st power, so I'll just leave it to the 1st power. And now what I'll do is I'll multiply those together, and that'll give me my least common multiple. So that's going to be 2 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 5. So 2 times 2 is 6. 6 times 3, I'll have 18. 18 times 3, I'll have 54. And then 54 times 5, I'll probably have to write that one out. So let me just come off to the side. That's about as far as I am willing to go comfortably and be confident that my answer is right. So 5 times 4 is 20. Put down the 0, carry the 2. 5 times 5 is 25. 25 plus the 2 more that I carried is 27. So my final answer for the least common multiple comes out to 270. So again, that means that 270 is the smallest value that both 54 will divide into evenly and 90 will also divide into evenly. And if 54 and 90 were denominators in a problem that involved fractions, 270 would be the least common denominator.